Well, well. Welcome to season 2 of Sans Woo Woo. It's your big sis Natalie, coming to you live. Feel Good Friday. It's good to be back. I missed you, lot, man. Actually missed doing it, to be honest. It was a bit of a mad one. It's just like, you know what, if I don't do it again, then I don't have to do it again. But actually, yeah, man, Jan knows that. Yeah, as long as you keep your eye on the road, I'm good. You keep safe, most high. Good evening, darling. Glad to you reach. Um, so today's show is all about the summer solstice, which is today, 21st of June. To backside June soon, the June soon done, and it is gonna be like July, like we're done. So this is literally like the halfway tree point of the year, which is just phenomenal in its own sense. Thank God, together we made it. So today we're going to be talking about a little bit about the significance of the solstice, and why it's important, because it deals with, amongst other things, new beginnings. We're going to be touching on basically summertime. A little bit of doing a little bit of research on, you've got SAD, seasonally aided depression, I think it is, or season something disorder, winter blues. Well, in my research, I found out a little bit about something called summer blues, which is like brand new and unusual for myself. So I will be definitely going over that a little bit too. And then to finish off, just like basically talking about being the fact that we're in the halfway point of the year, we are going to be like the reasons why we're going to be preparing for second half of the year and what that may entail. So tune in. But before you do, if your hands on the wheel, this don't apply to you, so don't worry about it, bro. If you are here watching, kindly like the video, because you're already on the screen, so you can't say you're not. And if you're watching the playback on the YouTube, kindly like the video and subscribe. Both buttons again are right underneath the playback thingy, and I can see. Yeah. All right. So moving on and just starting with, wow, the summer solstice. So to my understanding, and if I'm wrong, please check in with me or let me put it straight. 4 times a year, the Earth kind of tilts on its axis. You've got the spring solstice, spring equinox, autumn equinox, summer solstice, and winter solstice. I believe that's right. So we're in the summer solstice. What does that mean? It means that, like, basically, it's the longest day of the year. We had the most daylight. It's like, it's the most daylight hours. I don't know if it's the same. I think it might be the opposite for like somewhere like Australia where it's upside down. I don't know. All I know is in the UK, it's summer solstice, where it's the longest day of the year. Like, where almost like the sun is like, where it's aligned, we see it for like the whole day. Pretty much. Like, I've been awake since 4:30 this morning, because that's when the sun woke me up. And it was the first time like that for a while that I didn't wake up saying thank you and then cussing a bad word immediately after, because I know I'm awake. And it was just like, well, yeah, and woke up and did a sun salutation. I felt like some creaks and cracks, but it felt amazing. So that was good, like literally. So the longest day of the year. What did we do with it? Did it count? When we're always saying like we need more time, hopefully we've got to do either A, something that made a difference to someone else, or B, we was able to give ourselves what we needed, whether that was resting, whether that was going to work, whether it was on a isolation, whether it was having a conversation, whether it was completing some work, whatever you needed to do to become whole, I hope that you got to do that on this longest day because we had more time to do so. So, solstice as and looking at and viewing the solstice as a new beginning. Why would we do so? Well, it is the halfway point of the year after all, isn't it? But if you think about it, as much as it's the halfway point of the year, it's a new beginning because actually after today, the days start to get. I should start that way. The days start to get shorter now until we get to the shortest day of the year in the winter solstice. So, for many people, and like well, for myself, I don't know about you, but all of this year so far, yeah, it feels like I tell you what, it feels like when you used to watch the old school Western movies and the wagon train, like the wagon, yeah. It's feel like the wagon's riding off, yeah, and I'm running behind the wagon trying to grab on it and wait for me, and it's a pull me, need them scrape up, told them my big bread, everything. That's how it's felt the whole year. So actually, this point in the year feels really nice to be able to just try and be mindful of having a plan, especially for winter. I get the winter blues. Like I just really it's like I'm just at the point in my life where just I can't take too much people anyway. I can't take being around people too much energy, being an empath and all of that, and people's stuff, and I've got my own stuff to deal with. Do you get what I mean? So in the winter, it's even worse. It's dark outside. Where am I going? For what reason? You get what I mean? Like, I'm not really a social butterfly like that. If I do it, it's because it's an effort and I have to do it. Like, I'll go out if I have to. That's the reality of the thing. If I don't have to, go away. Um, so, and plus, I get the winter blue, especially if it's like when it's really dark and stuff and grey. Like, I'm a sun child. I was born like in the spring. Like, my son picked me. Like, and um, this SUM. I want that. So, planning for winter is a good idea. There's a few things that can be done. Looking online, seeing about booking like maybe cheap holidays and paying down for them to somewhere sunny. Because what happens is that for places that are where it's summertime now, those places will have their winter, which is more like just rainy season, which is rainy season here, even though it's summer, but we won't go into that. Um, but places have their winter now because we have our summer. Excuse me, and that means that by the time we're going into our winter, they'll be going into their summer kind of thing. So that's worth looking into. Um, there's things such as I don't know if I move that's going to disturb the equilibrium. All right, I'm all right. This bad boy is just the best. It's my little tea light holder, salt crystal. I find personally salt crystal burning it kind of I believe it's believed to clean the ions in the like around it, the space around it, whether it's a lamp or a tea light holder. To me, the colour of the glow gives off the same feeling as sunlight for me personally. And I've noticed sometimes when I've got my lamp on in winter or whatever, I notice the moths then be at the window thinking that it's sunlight. Um, so that kind of gives me my zhuzh. Um, what else? There's these lamps that are supposed to give off like this UV type lamps, what have you, because that's the other thing. If you especially get winter blues, it's best to if you can help it, allow the sunglasses like because what happens is a lot of sunglasses. Hi Nicole, you alright, sis? A lot of sunglasses have UV protection or UV blocker. Now, when UV hits when UV hits your eyes, it sends a signal to your brain. There's sunshine about. Create melanin to protect your skin. Now, if we wear sunglasses that block the UV from our eyes, our brain doesn't get that message that there's sunshine about, which is why we end up burning, which is why, if you notice with the new celebrity culture, blah, 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 that there is a lot of the instances of skin cancer are rising. That might be part of it as well. And just, it's designed, like the eyes are designed to receive sunlight. And then the other thing is, especially for people that, because a lot more people are kind of being diagnosed, being made aware of the fact that they may have certain well, mental health issues, but that can be exacerbated um, due to seasonal changes, namely SAD, which is it's usually affected by usually caused by the fact that the winter months are like a lot darker and what have you. And the reason that this occurs is because due to the lack of sunlight, what usually happens is people with SAD, the part of the brain that's affected, and you have to bear with me because I struggle to pronounce this, is the hypothalamus part of the brain. Hypothalamus. I'll give the spelling and I'll post a link. It was on the NHS website, so you would know that I'm not chatting fart. So the hypothalamus part of the brain is the part of the brain that controls circadian rhythm. So going to sleep at night, waking up in the day, that's like the biological rhythms kind of thing that ties in. A lot of people, shouts out to my insomnia massives, you get what I mean, and the people that suffer from insomnia. A huge part of that is when the circadian rhythms are thrown out. Okay, so back to the hypothalamus, kind of, it's new information for me, so I'm still kind of processing it. The hypothalamus controls melatonin. Melatonin is the chemical or the hormone that is released to help you to kind of wind down, be ready, prepare for sleep, tying in with your circadian rhythm, right? With people with SAD, the melatonin levels are a bit over produce, like people with SAD tend to produce a bit too much melatonin, which is why you'll find that a lot of people like with depression will sleep a lot. It's that kind of it's the over drowsiness, yeah. Also in the hypothalamus is serotonin, because like muscles, bicep and tricep, or well, in this case, it's like protein and fat, but we're not going to go into that too tough. It's there's serotonin. Serotonin is like the kind of a bit more the upper. So serotonin controls things like appetite, the kind of get up and go, the zhuzh. Let me just double check that I'm not giving you no misinformation because I've got it right here. No, it's mood, appetite, and sleep. All right, I was with it. So mood, appetite, and sleep is what serotonin balances. And again, people with SAD, I don't know if it's the same with other disorders. I haven't researched that, but people with SAD tend to have less serotonin. So you can see that if serotonin's the kind of the upper and the driver, and melatonin's the kind of sedative, and if you're producing too much sedative and not enough upper, you're going to find that you're not going to have that get up and go, that zhuzh, and that's when like the depression, so your circadian rhythms are thrown out and what have you, and you just kind of discombobulated. Now, we're kind of aware of winter blues, but the thing that we're not so aware of is roughly 10% of people have summer blues. Why are we talking about summer blues? Because moving into like actually we're in summertime, and we are looking and evaluating, and also we're in the pre-shadow phase of Mercury retrograde. which is uh, this year, this part of the year, this season is in Leo and towards the end in Cancer, which Leo is about kind of like the authority, the big I am, ego. You know, if you think of a lion, you will hear me roar and this and that. Um, how does that? And there's a lot of fiery energy, but Mercury controls communication, travel, electronics. Within the communication aspect, there is contracts, things like that. So, and in the pre-shadow and post-shadow phase, it's good to check out because it controls electronics. Be aware of text messages. When you send in your text messages and that, double check that they've been sent. A lot of times, what can happen during a retrograde is that, boom, yeah, I sent somebody that message, they ain't got back to me. Yo, when I check, it ain't been sent. Or you send an email and the person hasn't received it. It's sitting in the outbox or some malarkey nonsense like that. That's the kind of energy that Mercury retrograde brings. And the shadow phases, post shadow and pre shadow. Okay, so retrograde comes in three parts. There's the main part of the retrograde, yeah. But 2 weeks before the retrograde and 2 weeks after the retrograde, 2 weeks before is the pre shadow, 2 weeks after is the post shadow. The pre and the post, whatever foolishness can be going in during the retrograde can sometimes be amped up during the pre and the post, like it can go uber left. You get what I'm saying? So things like backing up important work, like literally, I did back out my terabyte hard drive and went in backing up like my phone. I just had a feeling I just got the card for do it, and that's what I did because remember the retrograde messes with communication, electronics and travel. You might find that your little gadgets and things like that. Make sure your insurance is topped up if you need to, or you know any little kind of MOT things need to just make sure. Oh yeah, is it working? Make sure your antivirus and all them things. Like if you need to change a password and refresh up the thing, do that. And before the retrograde kicks in. So being that we're in this state of retrograde, that's just on a personal level. When you think about on a world stage, well, here in the UK, you've got like there's a gap in the. I was about to say presidential, flipping out. In the for prime minister, there's going to be like there's just something about that Leo energy, that vying for attention and my you respect my authority and all that crap, and you know like there's going to be a lot of that the ego thing, man, the ego, man, the ego. So me more times still, as many opportunities for me not to be around people. I see I see that somebody's timeline today. There's this big woman, man, and she's hilarious. The woman that they kick up her foot with the Nike shoes. She's a big woman, but she did one leg swing. I can't remember her name. What she did the leg swing with her and two other ladies. They were singing this song about, you know what, not today, Satan, not today kind of vibe. And I swear, that's what the retrograde's going to be like. If I don't have to talk to nobody, I promise you I will not. And it's going to come to the point, if you see me go quiet, let the quietness reign. Because I am aware that actually I am fire and I'm the least kind of evolved form of fire. I'm like literally wildfire that hasn't learned to really kind of control itself yet. So I know that if I flip, it's not going to be good. So better me just be aware of what's happening, know what time it is, sata, humble, and just keep away from people because I'm all right when I'm not around people. Stop. You get so and then what does this have to do with the SAD thing? Well, often when people are going through something, you know, it's like there's an expectation. Oh, it's summertime. You should be up and about. You should be lively and that because we're enjoying the sun. Like, and that might be really shitty for someone who isn't. And we have to remember, just because we're having an experience, it might not be the same for somebody else. And often when people feel lost in their own process and or are dealing with something that they don't really know about, they can get defensive, you know, and that could be a problem Suki. So we have to really kind of look at that and be kind and be aware, like, like for myself this year, not to say anything wrong with me or anything, because it's really not, it's just witnessing. But like two people I personally know decided to make, basically make their own exit out of this world. You know, we need to be like kind of a bit more mindful and aware and checking in on people, which is why just because we might be having a hedonistic season, it's nice, enjoy that, do that, but at the same time, because everything is parallel. Like I told you about protein and fat, like I told you about serotonin and melatonin. There's a flip side in it because nature deals with duality more time. So if there's going to be people who are celebrating and it's nice and it's light and it's woo and all of that, there's going to be people that are actually feeling like shit. It's reality. And yeah, okay, it don't really concern you until it concerns you. Suppose it's one of your people, one of your people that's good at like bullshitting and covering up because they feel embarrassed or they feel ashamed. Get what I mean? So, uh, as much as I can't take people, I can't tell people. It's good to actually just keep an eye out, just listen a bit extra. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's in what people don't say as well as what they do. And I'm a somebody, I stay reading, I stay reading energy like it's an encyclopedia. Like even to the point of somebody could write something and I know there's something different. Somebody can say something and I can hear not even the inflection in their voice, but just like the pitch, the tone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and if we do take the time to, this is, listening's a beautiful thing and a retrograde. Retrograde is a beautiful time, yeah. A really beautiful time to practice our listening skills. And I say it in jest, yeah, because I laugh at things that even I'm not supposed to laugh because that's what I do. Egos are going to be ramped up a lot, because during the first part of the retrograde, it's going to be in Leo. That's going to be all about the ego. And remember, when Mercury's flowing the right way, that's going to be the communication, everything I work, not in a plug out. When it's rolling, it's not actually turning backwards, but the energy of it is turning backwards. Put it that way. When it's discombobulated, yeah, that means that communication, electronics, and that is going to be like. So that means ego and ego imbalance is going to be ramped up. So you're going to get. I remember summertime. A lot of people just act out like, I don't know about like middle class areas and things like that. Somebody can enlighten me. However, I know in most inner city areas, it's a known thing that in the heat, people act up, people act crazy because one, they're not drinking enough water, just the sunshine now and then. They're whatever that thing that was missing in it, or whatever was hibernating and incubating in them through the winter that was dormant. It's like the sun is like what you call it, like the touch paper, it gets lit in them and them gone, shag a lot, drink a lot, whatever. You get what I mean? Like, I might want to look at stats to do with sexual health reportings in the summer and that summer shagging season and all of that. You get what I mean? Because all that stuff tends to be amplified because we do, unless there's a particular reason, like the summer SAD, we tend to be more social. Even though me, I'm just like, you know what? Just thank you God for the sunshine. Dude, just leave me alone. So all the stuff is going to be amplified, and usually, especially with not a lot to do, and then we don't always know our boundaries, do we? We don't. We don't. I don't. Keeping it true, especially when it comes to imbibing in a sun hot and evening, even if it's in the evening, heat hot and substances, unless you know if you drink water and manage yourself and bob and weave with it. It can be a bit You get me? It can be a bit chaotic, put it that way. You know what I mean? But 9 times out of 10, it's usually summertime. You see, like, young girls just like completely wasted, and you're looking and thinking, oh God, I hope where's their friends, or you know. So that's going to be a time, and when people want to kick off, who are we? Who are ya? Ready to have a go? Do you know what I mean? Where was it? In Brum, it was Broad Street. I don't even know where it is here because ain't nobody got time for that. But I'm sure there's places. Again, if you know, you can enlighten me still. But we don't know about that auntie stuff. My turn up is turning the down in the house. So it's just to be aware that tempers, egos are amplified. So that really during a retrograde, and all it takes is for the wrong person to say the wrong thing in the wrong way. And if we're already lit up and they're already lit up, like all it takes is for somebody to not shut the fuck up, and then you've got a problem, haven't you? Do you get what I mean? So, yeah, it's a time to practice the listening skills. What's really going on? What are they really trying to say? What am I saying? How am I responding? All of that, all of that, all of that. And because it's a good time to practice for in the winter months as well, like being in tune, knowing that the spiders come out in September, knowing that you get what I mean, just being aware, the awareness is actually key. And I don't think I shall exhaust that point anymore. I'm looking forward to the retrograde still. That was the last thing. That is it. So in the first part of the retrograde is in Leo, Ego City. That is the other part. See, I knew I wasn't chatting shit, you know. The second thing is that the second part of the retrograde, just towards the end, it's going to be Mercury is going to be retrograding in Cancer, which Cancer is governed by the moon and thus water based, dealing with emotions. So, if you imagine now, everybody's egos is ramped up, and then towards the end of that cocktail of clusterfuck, you get me, then everybody's emotions is going to be like a roller coaster as well. So like that's an interesting combination. So it's like there is going to be like the tears and the anger and all the whole gambit and the laughter. Let's do lots of laughing, and let's remember to do lots of laughing because I'm going to be laughing regardless. Like even when I'm not supposed to laugh, I'm going to be laughing. I'm just letting you know differently still. So that's worthwhile. So, with your kids, those of us that have got children, not kids, you shouldn't say kids because kids are the baby goal, Jenny. If you've got children, whether they're big children or little children, what are they into? What are they up to? Like, what's their ego and stuff going to be saying? What's their emotions going to be saying? Especially like with summer holidays coming up where that routine's broken as well. Do you know what I mean? It's like what's going on for them, like because whatever's going on for us is going on for them. So again, it's them listening skills, and also again, it's going to be about the authority. So that moment when they like yesterday, no, I need to just give you this real quick. It weren't yesterday; it was Wednesday. Wednesday, I'm coming on from where I was at, yeah. So I'm traveling now. I've got my headphones in because I'm doing my little language thing that I do on my phone, right? But in amongst that, behind me here, behind my left shoulder, yeah, because even though I've got my headphones in, I can always hear what's going on. Um, I'm hearing, nah, mum, no, but now shut up, like speak English, mum. Something, like, cause I had to look round to see who it was that was talking to their mum like that. I swear before the living gods. Because I'm not gonna lie, the inner auntie jumped out just a little bit. Might lip dry. I don't know whether the bar missy. Just gonna have to roll with the dry lip. Hold on, let me drink some water. Mhm. Yeah, I had to just look and see who it was. So when you're hearing the youngins getting slick at the mouth, your inner authority is gonna want to rear up because remember it's ego season, um, and plus emotions. How does that? But they're gonna be coming to you with that same energy. So who's gonna be the one that's gonna go? Oh yeah, it's that. You get what I mean? So that's why I say it's like be listening, be arming ourselves. From students. I was looking at some stats for students. Actually, that's usually a time when students tend to self harm quite a lot because unless they have hold on, what? Sorry, what? My inner auntie speaks at two, but sometimes I have to hold back from drapes in people's use. Oh, please trust and believe, Indigo. Please trust and believe, my Empress. Like, fam, like sometimes it's Anna, ooh, and then I have to make a joke out of it for myself, and then just keep it moving because I'm just like, hmm. But at the same time, all right, boom, you just triggered something in me because there was a video going around of there was two. Oh goodness. Okay, so I don't really normally do current affairs, but this one did kind of touch me still. So little you maybe about 5, and he looked about 4 or 5, like reception class, youth size, maybe. Yeah, what is it now? Because it's not like how when we was at school. First year infants, man, whatever year that is in modern times, sure. Um, Like the teacher must, it's like assembly or something, and the teacher must have said, "Oh, good morning, everybody. Good morning, students. Hear this, you shut the fuck up, bitch." I was like, the inner auntie immediately, as an immediate response, was like, but then the youth worker, safeguarding, just village auntie part come out of me, village parent kind of thing come out of me, gone. That youth's repeating word for word what is heard the adults in his life say to each other. Do you get what I mean? And I was like, how can you even be angry at that child? Really? Because actually that has been nurtured. Yeah, kids are gonna experiment and swear, especially when they get a response. But this youth, like I swear, if you listen to it, I'm sure the clip's probably doing the rounds. I saw somebody reviewing it and I totally agreed with his name's Young Pharaoh. His perspective on it was brilliant. I thought he's got. I think his show is called Higher Perspective, where he kind of like current affairs. He gives his opinions on it. But it was like, yeah. At the end of the day, if you hear a small child like that acting out in that way, what's more important is our response to that, because actually the first thing we're going to be going in with our ego. You've just challenged my authority by speaking inappropriately. But at 4 or 5, that child hasn't developed the skills to be able to communicate appropriately all the time. And B, at 5 versus an adult, who's supposed to have the skills to deal with that scenario? So a child saying that, and I swear to God, it was like literally it was a little boy when he said it. I swear to God, because sometimes I see things and I got an image of just like a man arguing with a woman and going, "Shut the fuck up, bitch," and that's what the youth see, because half the time when we as adults we're arguing, we're thinking, well, there's some of us that are like, would be trying to do it through clenched teeth, thinking that kids can't hear us. And there's some of us that are just in our own chaos so much that the kids are just hearing everything. We're not even trying to censor it. And to me, what I saw was a child literally playing back a tape of something that had been recorded on his psyche. That's what I saw, to be truthfully honest. And um, I'm sorry, I can't tell off the youth for that. I can try and get to the bottom of it. And when you think about how many upon how many upon how many upon how many upon how many children are acting out in that way? Granted. And then think about how many upon how many upon how many upon how many upon how many adults that are acting out that wounded child, acting out what their parents who were probably acting out what their wounded child was. You know, them generational curses passing down. So, especially in a time like this, that is a time that deals with communication. That is a time that deals with, is going to be dealing with the ego and emotions, and moving into winter, which is a time that depression and things like that ramps up. It really, because the solstice is also a time for inflection in the revision of one for the previous, what's happening next. So yeah, that's why I think it's important, and I think the solstice is important. Like, it's just an important day, and I don't know. I think the sun charged up my mouth. That's why my mouth dry, and it's just like I'm just downloading. All right, boom. Which brings me to the kind of the sort of rounding off point of the show, which is the retrograde post solstice is a time for slowing down, and for those of us for whom it's relevant, topping up the vitamin D in time for winter, like going into the stores, like, like, okay, in keeping with nature, if we were, you know what, I don't try and kill them, but don't fly into my face and my night vision while I'm trying to speak. That's it. Look how much space you got. Go over there, any. Sorry, I'm talking to the fly. Um, when you're going into the winter, like, time for patience. How many of us really have patience? How many of us could do with working on our patience? Because one of the learnings, as I'm kind of taking inventory, is actually there's the timing that I wanted, like, and then there's the understanding that in terms of discipline and consistency and commitment, actually, there's the long road, like the long game. You really have to be thorough. Excuse me. You got to be prepared to play the long game. Like, that's been one of the biggest eye openers for me. Is that because I want it now, now, now. Like, I'm Aries, I'm a spark. I'm literally like somebody's dropped a spark of fire on a tinder. Like, let's go. That's just my natural proclivity. Um, but it's a long game, and this is a really good time of year when it's kind of when we kind of if we're kind of in tune with what we'll be forced to anyway. And if we want to be hard headed and not listen, well, then we all know about that as well. But then just be prepared for the consequences in it, because that's a good thing too. That's also a learning in and of itself. It'll be a good time to exercise patience. Just that little, just stop, count 1, 2, 3, forget 10, because it's going to be like we're going to be agitated quite a lot. So forget 10, maybe just count to 3, like 1, 2, 3, and that's a quick 1, 2, 3. Sometimes that's enough to ask yourself a question that will just diffuse the thing. Like, can I be bothered to go to jail? Can I be bothered to screw off this person and me? Can I be bothered to even try and reason with someone that don't seem like they've got any logic about them, let alone reason? Do you get what I mean? Like, and then, well, I work on the premise that if somebody don't put their hand on me, they can say what they want. You can say what you want. Like, I'm not bothered. It's only sometimes if I lose control of my ego, then I might roar back. But actually, most of the time, I'm just like, And people who know me know what my favorite two words are, and the second one is eat. Like, normally when it comes to dealing with people, because it's often not as important as we think it is. So, be a good time to exercise that. Points of authority. If you're right and you know you're right, does it matter if somebody else says you're wrong as long as you're not being negatively impacted? Does that make sense? If you know you're right and you're already right, why is it that we will get into an argument with somebody else who's wrong? Because if we're right, they're wrong, yes. Does it make sense to get into an argument with somebody to prove that we're right when they're wrong? To get me? Or would it be better to kind of just leave them to come to that in their lesson, in their timing, which might not be ours? Do we have the patience for that? So there's that in terms of preparing. But how are we prepared for the end of the year? On a practical level, are we up to date like with fuel bills and things like that? Can we drop a little bit extra on because we know the fuel bills goes up in the winter? Or, might be something as simple as, can we start paying a direct debit and doing that monthly? So that, because what they do is they take a bit extra in the summer months to cover the winter months. Like just on a practical level, when you go shopping, buy a like I've gone mad for pulses at the moment. Oh my god! Because I'm like, I'm not vegetarian. I'm not gonna lie and pretend that I am. But I do find I'm eating less meat and things like that. And at the moment, I am craving pulses, like Pulse City. Like I've literally got a shelf in my cupboard that is just dedicated to pulses. So what I do is each time like I go shopping, I'll buy a different packet, whether it's a butter bean, a pinto bean, a red kidney bean, a black eyed peas, a red lentil, a green lentil, a brown lentil. Do you get what I mean? So that I can mix and blend and zhuzh. Um, you know, little things like that. So, just how are we preparing for the winter and thinking about that? Just on a physical level, how are we preparing? Are there any repairs that we remember? This pipe always bursts and leaks during the winter. How about seeing if we can get it fixed during these months when it's dry, as opposed to having to deal with it when it happens? Do you get what I mean? Because that would be good for us, you see. Or on a spiritual, energetic level, as we go into the winter, um, the beliefs are especially cold. Cold is often associated with spiritual activity, but although I don't fully know about that because that would be like saying there's no ducky in hot country or whatever. You get me? But that's just one of them philosophical things. See, it's weird, even though I don't smoke weed, I still think like a weed smoker sometimes, that was a definite ganja thought to roll back. Um um yeah, like they say that cold is associated with spirits, and when in cold places spirits will gather, which to me does make a lot of sense. Still, but even though my other point that I just made, but anyway, don't judge me. Um, why was I saying that about the cold? Right, yeah, Halloween, November times, rituals, etc., etc. The winter's like when the veils are finished. There's a lot of darkness and a lot of shaggery happens under the cover of darkness. Even though a lot of, you get what I mean, a lot of oops, the complexity is kind of being done in broad daylight in your face too. But at the same time, a lot of foolishness is done under cover of darkness. So with more darkness will come, it provides more cover as much as it provides more going in, because it's not like it's a negative thing. It's just thinking about stuff. So how do you protect yourself spiritually? How do you protect your home spiritually? Have you got a little sage bundle that if you feel a certain type of way, you can just smudge out your yard, or You have salt for ready for if you need to take a salt bath to just wash with certain vibes and crosses. You get what I mean? Um, like just what do you need to protect yourself spiritually? For some people it will be going to church. For some people, whether it's like to the masjid or to the temple or to the inner them yard in the temple of home, because the temple's here as well too. Whatever works for you, blood, and how your spirituality, like how do you protect yourself in your spirituality? How do you prepare for those winter months? Um, I spoke a little bit about topping up with vitamin D, just on like that kind of physiological level. That if things is not like financially abundant, maybe like good time to maybe put a deposit on a winter holiday and pay down bit until you can get there and get somewhere warm, reasonably priced in the winter. And I think that's about it. Let's see, what's today's number? So it's the 21st of the 6th, 2019. So what's that? I might be doing this wrong. If I'm doing it wrong, please let me know. You've got 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 6 hour 9, plus 2 hour 11, plus 0, well, it's still 11, plus 1 is 12, plus 9 is 21, 2 plus 1 is 3. So the resonance of the day is 3. But the book's over there, and trust me, the show's going to finish in a minute, so I'm not going over there to go and get it. I'll do it next time. But the resonance of the day is 3. Then, if I've worked it out correctly, if I haven't, let me know. But if you're interested, have a look and post the answer in the comments if you want to on what the resonance of the day has been. I'm sure 3 talks about kind of being comfortable at home, nurturing, being safe, weight gain, possibly. No, but that was if you do numbers number 3. I can't remember. I'd have to look it. I'm not. I know there was something about number 3. I think that was on Michelle's night site, maybe. Anywho, I've waffled enough, but this is your big sis saying thank you for watching. As I said at the beginning of the show, if you're watching, if you made it to this point, please hit the like button. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button as well. You're there already. And if you're not gonna, it's better to ask yourself why you're not doing that after watching it. And if it's where it's a dislike, hit the dislike button if you don't like it, or tell me why you don't like it as well. Like communication's good, but just make sure it's positive communication. Yo, Empress, like you don't know, so much admiration. Like, can I say, Indigo? Can I say? Can I say what you did? It's because oh now I'm still baffled. Can I tell them, please, Indigo? You're very welcome, by the way, and thank you for coming through. All right, like so, Indigo, yeah, I believe, and if I'm wrong, let me know. Is it 15 days? Oh, excuse me. One for which, two for a kiss. All right. Um, Indigo did a water fast for 15 days. Is that right, sis? Or I caught you on day 15? I'm sorry if I didn't get that right, but to my understanding, 1 5, 15 days, water fasted. Like, it was 18 days. 18 days. Wait, 1 8, as in, all right, boom. 1 plus 8 is 9. The resonance and the power of the 9, that's Oya's number. That's the warrior number right there. 18 days, yeah. Water fasted, like, For me personally, that's like, fam. There's days when I say, yeah, I'm gonna fast today, water fast today, and forget, and then find myself, oh well, it was only a smoothie. Do you get what I mean? It was only meant to be 14. There's no only about that. There's no only about that. I'm sorry. There's no only about that. The levels, like, yes, Warwick, the levels, like, that is what you call mastery of self, you know, like, that's why it's like, it's not like I'm being, now I am raw being a stan, because for me, that's an admirable quality. Do you get what I mean? To be able to do that, like, what that, like, I'm not there. I'm not, I'm not there. So I can only admire. Do you get what I mean? Somebody that can do something that I can't do just on the strength. But I, I really sat down and penny deep, like, raw. What discipline, like mental capacity, does that take to be able to do that? I can only hope to get there. Like, no, but this one is by force. Like, I can't help. I just have to talk truth, and it. Like, I was just like, wow. And you know, the maddest thing is there's a frequency in the air where there's something happening, because there's a couple of people like that I follow on YouTube and what have you. But this water fasting is becoming like a real thing. Like, the energy, like, I really enjoy more and more when you're seeing, like, I'm actually witnessing being tapping into the energy, just frequency, like, forming like Voltron. It's just so powerful. So on so many levels, it was to me, mind blowing, like, mind blowing. Absolutely. I can imagine. I can imagine. For me as well, I wasn't even sure how to, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that was me, my inner awkward. I won't even give that any voice. I don't need to bore you with it. I wasn't sure how to just know that, like, and just made it very clear, like, that I was in awe. Yes, I roll with the elephants. The elephants are upstairs in the Serengeti. Jesus Christ. Um, Sorry, I don't mean to cause any offense to anybody, because, like, but yeah, that wasn't what I was gonna say. Put it that way. So just take the JC in it as opposed to the BC or the RC. Yeah, all right. So you're welcome, Sue. Um, so that's the rounding off of the Summer Solstice show, season 2. Sans Woo Woo. Feel Good Friday. So Sans Woo Woo is the show or the broadcast. I don't even know what the name of it is yet, like, because it's not a podcast yet, because it's not podcasting. It's not a show, like, it's not a radio show or whatever, and like the production value of it. Even though it's not about the production, it's not what I would call a show. It's me sharing some thoughts, feelings, opinions around topics. Yeah, whatever that becomes. So but it sounds woo woo, because you know our slogan is well-being without the woo woo. Sans woo woo is a short way of saying that whatever it is that we're going to be dealing with, it's going to be without the woo woo. That's one thing you guaranteed. It's going to be a woo woo free zone. So sans woo woo, a sharing. I like that. I like that. The sans woo woo sharing. Yeah. Sis, what day are you on? Because you do a show as well, isn't it? You just go live as well, isn't it? Drop it in the comments, please, so I can shout it out. Um, I know Sickness, who was on, she has released a track. As a matter of fact, anybody that you see in the comments or just that in attendance, just go follow them. I don't follow idiots, like, more, like, I don't. More time, people that I follow are like really interesting, which is why I follow them. Like, I don't do himbos and bimbos, to be honest. Even though there's nothing wrong with himbos and bimbos, it's just not my usual. But the people that I follow are very interesting, all of them. Um, yeah, and that's about it. And it's just for me to say, yeah, walk and live, drink water and stay humble. Keep big sis signing out. Everybody's starting to do this thing where they like pop the camera and finish the thing, but that's not going to work because I've got the phone going. Okay, Thursdays every other week. So Thursday coming. All right, boom. I remember to shout it out when I do Wellbeing Wednesday. Then yeah. All right, and I'll be tuning in, sis. Definitely, definitely, definitely. All right, boom. And what's it called? Either shoot because I remember you did post the name of it, but I'm not being cheeky, sis. But I can't remember at the moment. I can't remember, but I will shout it. I will shout it. Yeah. What was I saying? Um, it's gone out my head. That means it's time to start waffling and come off people internet. Much love. Rise Up Sessions, that's it. So Rise Up Sessions, Thursdays, like alternate Thursdays. So Rise Up, yeah, that's easy to remember. Rise Up. So and that's this Thursday coming. I'll remember it the shout out for Wellbeing Wednesday. All right, boom. All right, on that note, then, yep, family, family, enjoy your weekend, family. Enjoy your weekend, family. Enjoy your Saturday. If you need a line, take a line. If you need a get up, take a get up. If you whatever you do, be safe, enjoy, have a good time, be around people, be aware. Like me say, drink water, especially with me dry marriage. Okay, have a beautiful weekend, guys. Peace. Night, princess. Every week, YouTube seems to want to try and palm me. That could be foolishness. Yes, I'm sure I want to end the stream. See me ending it,